I got to set you up with a little bit of a story on to why you're on the show today.
Okay.
So my wife is going through a master's program, and she was doing homework the other night. You know, it's about 9:30, and I'm like, well, I guess I'll just go lay in bed and watch, something on my phone for a little bit. I start watching your show about 9:30 that night. The next thing I know, it's 11 o'clock, and I've done nothing but watch you camp.
Well, sorry to affect your day like that.
No, it was one of those things where you lose an hour and a half, you have no idea where it went, but you just feel good about it. I mean, and we can get into it why it's so fascinating, but you're a guy who goes on YouTube and you camp, right?
That is it. Yeah, in a nutshell.
I mean, it's insane. And you've got, let's see, last check, I saw you're over 230,000 subscribers, over 25 million views.
It really is unbelievable. I don't know why people watch it, so but I keep making them.
Well, let's start out with kind of the basis of the show because it seems like your YouTube channel has kind of evolved over time. I believe at one point it was like cooking with Steve and then a couple other things. And now you're camping with Steve, and so people know what they're getting into. It's not like survivalist camping or anything like that. It's you camping, correct?
Yeah, it is just camping with sometimes unusual things, but mostly normal stuff you get from the hardware store and just regular camping. Nothing too extreme about it, aside from some locations.
Well, I mean, you have done, like camping in the back of a U-Haul in, minus 35. There was, camping with no equipment, which that was the one that got me hooked.
Oh, yeah. It was chilly.
You're just out in the middle of Canada, camping, no tent, no nothing, just a sleeping bag and a fire.
Yep.
But
how they did it in the old days, just a bedroll and a can of beans and a fire.
Well, I got to ask because, like I said, your channel seems like it's evolved over time. At what point did you go, wow, there's something to this, people watching me camp?
Well, I wanted a cooking channel, and then I wanted a comedy channel.
Okay.
And I wanted a camping channel. And you typically have to do 3 different channels because it's not the same audio. And I kind of combined them all into one. And I started going to school out of town.
Okay.
And rent was fairly prohibitive in that other town. And I thought, what a perfect opportunity to film this and put it on YouTube. And that's kind of when things started clicking and people were following me for the adventures. And they seemed to enjoy hanging out with me on YouTube. So from there, I took off.
Was there a moment or a video that it was really like, oh my God, I struck gold?
Yeah, when I camped out in the backyard in minus 35 or something, that was kind of a realization that I'd hit something because I had no idea there were so many people actually following me. I didn't even keep track of how many subscribers I had back then. And the comments started pouring in, and then I got 1 million views on it, and I said, yikes, this is getting out of control. I better focus on this a little more seriously.
Steve Wallis from Camping with Steve joining me on the line right now. It really is just fascinating stuff. I keep going back and watching different stuff, and it's just, I don't know what, you found a formula that just works because I love the setup. I love watching you cook for some reason, and it's not like you're doing anything, mind-bending. You're out having a really good time, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I wouldn't do it if I wasn't having a good time.
How long can you sustain this, I guess is a good word?
Having an idea is the crucial thing, a unique idea. And I've got ideas for months. So, I have the luxury of spending a little more time and money on these things now because there's ad revenue and some T-shirt sales. So I've scaled back my normal work day to a few days a week, actually, to focus more on the YouTube. And as long as my midlife crisis keeps evolving, there's going to be crazier stuff happening on YouTube.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you, and this, I don't want you to think that I'm asking how much you make, but does the YouTube support? I mean, does that pay the bills, or is there another job? I think at one point you were doing furnaces, I believe.
Yeah, I do some furnace repair, and YouTube it's up and down.
Yeah.
There's some days where I say I could live very comfortably on this, and then other days it drops off, and I have to come up with a new video. So it's not really stable enough to put all my eggs in that basket. But
okay.
If I diversify, and I don't have a Patreon or anything, people do send me beer donations, which is great, but it could be in the cards in the future. How
did step 2 come around? Because I think I saw that on some of the later videos, and I thought that was just brilliant.
Well, it was an old saying. Every time we went camping, we'd get something accomplished, right? Just a menial nothing task, and then step 2 was always to crack a beer. So we've got we've got the tent unloaded or the fire started. That was step one, and step two is to crack a beer.
I was going to say you've got the different sayings in there. I like hunker down, which those are the T-shirts that are available. Correct?
Yeah. There's hunker down. I'm working on some other designs, but that's the one I have up right now.
Is there a chance for a step two or stage two?
Yes, there is. A subscriber sent me a bunch of designs for T-shirts, and I have to actually upload them onto the T-shirt printing company, and there are going to be some step twos, some hunker downs, different designs, crazy neighbor one.
Crazy neighbor is funny because at first, the first time when I saw them, I was kind of going out of order for your videos, and all of a sudden this guy with a beard shows up. It's like, who the hell is this guy?
He's my actual neighbor.
Oh, and you're based out of Edmonton, I believe?
Yeah, Edmonton, Alberta.
Oh, awesome. And so is a lot of your camping kind of in that area, or how far have you actually traveled to do these shows?
I travel into British Columbia, so out to the coast, close to, Vancouver, Victoria, so close to Seattle. And I've gone that far. I don't go east very often, but that could change this year because I'm looking at a longer trip and kind of exploring, meeting up with some subscribers potentially.
How many subscribers have said, hey, will you come camping with us?
Oh, there's lots. So I try to get back to people and respond to the comments, but I do get offers, if you're ever in wherever, come and go camping with us. And they'll supply the step twos, of course. But I'm going to organize it into kind of more meetups at a campsite somewhere. So that's in the plans.
You might want to have a couple bodyguards with you because that might turn into a really weird horror film real quick.
Well, I'll have to bring crazy neighbor, I guess, my backup.
How was that step two, Steve? You feel a little lightheaded?
Yeah. No, I'll bring my own step twos, I guess.
There you go. I don't mean to scare you. Steve Wallis from his YouTube, Camping with Steve, is on the line with me right now. We've kind of covered the actual camping part, but you've done some other stuff like it's the urban camping where you're not supposed to, camping in a airport security lot. Or parking lot, excuse me. Has there been some of these that haven't worked out, or have you got caught, or any wild stories where it's like, okay, maybe this wasn't such a great idea to try and camp here?
It's a matter of time until I do get caught. I'm pretty sure of it. And, that all kind of stemmed from living so far from any normal places to camp where people would usually camp. So that airport one, I was a little bit nervous. I was about to pack up because I figured I was busted for sure. And I didn't know the technicalities on it. It didn't seem like it should be legal, but I didn't see anywhere that said it was illegal. So I went ahead and decided I'll just plead ignorance if I get caught, but that security guard was getting pretty close to the car.
Oh man, I just got off this long trip. I just thought I'd hang out here and I'm going to take off in the morning.
Well, I was running through excuses in my mind, right? And I don't think I would be in severe trouble. It would just be a little embarrassing to get caught. And, I got all this camera equipment with me, and I had my silver play button with me. It's all set up to film. So
yeah.
I think people would be a little curious and probably concerned.
One of the other characters on your show is a beautiful wife who is not on camera because she doesn't want the YouTube stuff. What does she think of all this?
She is behind it. At first, when I was doing the initial YouTube videos, we said, one day it would be great to just travel around and do YouTube. And it was kind of a pipe dream. It's looking like a little more of a reality now. But she's been absolutely supportive the whole way. And she comes up with a lot of the good ideas, too, like the airport parking lot. That was her idea.
Oh, really?
So, yeah. And no, she's not trying to get me out of the house.
Well, I was wondering that because you go camping a lot. There's a lot of guys that wish they could do what you're doing, and you're just doing it.
Oh yeah, I bring her with me too sometimes. So it's nice. Camping is something we love, and she's worked in a campground before, so it's not that strange of a thing for her to go out camping a fair bit.
I like the one where you guys went to it was some spooky location for Halloween.
Yeah, that was her idea too, the ghost town camping, because I said, we got to come up with something for Halloween special. We were thinking, we'd met in a cemetery actually. We both had summer jobs at the cemetery, and long story short, we ended up getting married, but we thought, camping in a cemetery would be kind of a spooky one, but I know I'd get called out because it would be disrespectful to the dead. And guaranteed some subscriber or something would see the relative's marker in the background or something. So I said, well, a ghost town's the second spookiest thing, and the scariest food I can think of is Spam. So we had Spam for dinner.
You know what? You guys knock Spam for being scary, but Spam prepared the right way is awesome.
I'll take your word on that. That was as far as I'm willing to experiment with that food product.
I will put it this way, try it in chili.
Well, I'll think about it.
You're like, no. I can't
I won't
believe...
make a...
You've never
I
had
won't make a big batch.
You've never had Spam in your chili?
Nope, I've never had. I've had ground beef and beans and the usual stuff. I haven't put Spam in the chili yet.
I'm telling you right now, try it. It's awesome.
I'll take it into consideration.
After this, nope. Steve Wallis joining me right now. With the food in mind, you do cook a lot. You said that you wanted to have a cooking channel at one point. What's been the hardest thing to prepare while camping? Because you get into you do a lot of pasta.
Yes, I do. I get called out for calling it pasta or pasta. I don't know. Anyway, those are the fairly easy. The one-dish ones are what I aim for. And usually I'll Google for one-dish recipes before I go out.
Okay.
And tweak them a little bit. If I'm doing multiple things, like if I'm cooking a steak and then doing an oil and garlic pasta and making some asparagus or something, it's hard to get them all timed right on a campfire. So I strive for those one-pot things, slow cooker things, those type of Dutch oven meals.
That wood burner you cook on is awesome.
Yeah, that's a real nice one. And I think that's going to last forever. The thing is heavy, but it is worth it to bring with us when we're set up for a number of days. It's nothing for a quick overnight camping trip, but a nice big wood stove and a tent can't be beat.
That was the other thing I was going to ask. You use the ice shed, like the ice fishing tent a lot.
Yeah.
If someone's looking at doing this kind of camping, is that the way to go? That style tent?
If you're doing winter camping, that type of tent would be absolutely perfect. It doesn't have a floor, which is a deal breaker for some, but it works fine up here. There's no creepy crawlies or snakes I need to worry about too much.
Yeah, getting into Iowa, you might run into a few of those things. No bears, but creepy crawlies. Yeah,
there's always something.
Steve Wallis on the line with me right now. We're getting a little long on the tooth, so we'll start to wrap things up. What's the plan for the next year with this channel?
Well, the plan is I'll continue with the weekly uploads every Thursday. I've got a lot more project build type of things going on. I built a camping raft out of rain barrels.
Yeah, that thing is awesome.
Well, it has a long trip planned down the river. We'll Tom Sawyer it as far as we can go and pretty much sell it at the end or give it away or something. But a lot more stealth camping, a lot more crazy spots to camp, tree houses, you name it.
You know what? That actually brings up an interesting question. What is one place that you'd really like to go camp at?
Oh, I would love to go camp in the far north, Alaska, somewhere there. That would be great. In the spring or fall, not really too crazy about the 24-hour daylight or the 24-hour darkness.
Yeah.
But that would be right up on my list of the dream spots to go camping.
How about stealth camping? Is there like another one that you're, because you did the U-Haul, like we said, you did the airport. Is there one place that you're like, wow, this would be pretty cool to do?
Well, I'm wearing out my welcome in Edmonton because I'm getting recognized a little bit, especially if I'm carrying camping gear into the woods. So I'm tempted to try a different city and go a little further towards the, downtown area. See if I can find somewhere almost in plain sight, but just hidden enough that there's some excitement and a small amount of risk.
Because you were talking about, and I don't mean to drag this out, but what is boondocking?
Well, boondocking, I came across that word years ago when I was researching living in a car.
Okay.
And I don't know, I get off on tangents. And I said, that's a cool sounding word. And essentially it means camping without being plugged into supplies. So people that go dry camping in an RV with no water or with no services, that's essentially what it means. And it's been co-opted by the van dwelling community. So boondocking is just kind of referred to as, I guess, living in your van without being plugged in anywhere. So that's where that comes from.
All right. Yeah, I remember you'd brought that up a couple of times, especially with the U-Haul one. And
when I was living in my RV full time for 3 years on the coast, now that was more of the boondocking, purist boondocking.
Steve Wallis from Camping with Steve, my guest today. You can find all the information about Camping with Steve at the bottom of the page. Steve, thank you so much. We appreciate it. And don't forget, hunker down. Don't forget,